All right, I think we're live. I thought it counted down, but I guess it doesn't count down. So we're live on air on Google Hangouts.
Yeah, everything's good. I got live on my end, so and I did not see a countdown, just so you know.
No,
For next time. All right, listen, I appreciate anybody who's watching this hangout. I appreciate you guys spending the time to watch this. What you're about to see is some life-changing information, and I hope that Dan and I both could bring some major value to you. Real quick, if you don't know me, my name is James Bonadis, and I have a website, iBuyIReview.com. Over the last 7 years, I have been a wannabe internet marketer. I've been involved with various MLMs, failed at almost everything that I've done. And over the last couple months, through the strategies that you're going to be introduced within this hangout, these strategies have changed my life, added a lot more money to my family's life, and there has been a change in the way that I've been marketing online, and it's since I met Dan and another guy by the name of Brad who introduced me to these strategies, and I'm excited to share this stuff with you guys. And basically, what I want to do is I want to introduce Dan Klein, who has started a coaching program for people who are looking to earn extra income, whether it be $1,000 a month or $10,000 or $20,000 a month. So I want to hand that off to Dan. Dan, I appreciate it, buddy.
yeah, man, no problem. So I think what I want to do is kind of get straight down to value. So
Yeah.
anyone watching this thing, we don't sit here and hype, and just get right down to the value. So I'm going to start off by kind of explaining, what we do, why we do it, and why it works so well. So many of you guys are either from one of two things. You're from either the internet marketing niche, and that's why you're looking at stuff, different ways to make money from home, or you're from the network marketing niche, and someone told you about it. You saw the guy with the big check with the fast car, and you joined because you wanted to earn a million bazillion dollars. And I'm not going to say that I wasn't bitten by that bug at one point, but I quickly exited that business model. I'm going to tell you why, and why some of these principles I'm going to lay out for you guys make so much sense, and why you should jump into them whether you join our coaching or not. And I think that it's totally doable for so many different businesses, and I'm going to explain why in just a moment. So oftentimes, specifically in the network marketing niche, and in the internet marketing niche, what happens is we see some of these, the big players in these niches, or the big players in these businesses, making big money, and that allures us in. It's that allure of greed that every human has. Unfortunately, the problem that we face when jumping into those businesses is we end up having to compete against hundreds of thousands of other distributors or other internet marketers promoting the exact same product. And the reason that is so difficult, it's not that it's not doable, because there's plenty of people. In fact, my business partner, Brad Campbell, knocked it out of the park in Empower Network. And in fact, that's how James and I came to know each other, as James was in Empower Network, and I think you followed Brad first because Brad did so well online, right?
That's right, exactly.
Okay, cool. So what I found was you got to be really good to be able to compete at that level. It's like the pros. And one thing about me is I like being a pro, but I like competing in a junior high school basketball league. So what I've done, I was in an industry where I had a corporate job, made really good money for many years, but I was let go in 2008, right at the crash of everything. At that point, I started looking in different ways that I could support my family, and different ways that I could ultimately, make a living and count on that living, so it wasn't a here today, gone tomorrow type of a thing. With that being said, I looked at network marketing because I had been in it in the past, and I'd done really well. But to me, it just wasn't the right fit for my lifestyle, and I'll get into that in just a second. I really started honing in on local marketing, and what I found was local marketing. You were never competing against hundreds of thousands of other people selling the same product. If you were going into carpet cleaning, there was only 5 or 10 or 20 or whatever the number was in your given market. There was only that many competing people. So I said to myself, if I only focus my efforts on just honing in my skills at helping these local businesses get customers, then I most likely can always get paid, because local business is constant, where we see some sort of sometimes MLMs or internet marketing products. They're kind of here today. They have a big spike, like you see like in Power Network, where they spike up and everyone's making a lot of money. But to me, that's very opportunistic, because you spend and you put all your time and effort into one business, and it could, not always, but it could be gone tomorrow. And so I didn't want to jump into that, because I wanted to have a long-lasting career in whatever I was doing. I wanted to build something that would be a legacy for my family. If I was to go away, it could still produce for me, because it was actually built on strong business principles. So knowing that local businesses have been around for 100 years before I came around, and they'll be 100 years after I leave, I knew it wasn't going to be a here today, gone tomorrow type of model, and that's why I really started honing in my skills in local marketing. After working in the local marketing space for a while, what I found was most local business owners don't know a thing about how to market their business. Most times, local business owners got into business one of two ways. The first way is they had a passion for that niche, specifically like a massage therapist or a veterinarian person or whatever. Either way, they have a passion, and that's why they jumped in. It wasn't because they were a great marketer or they knew how to market that business. The second way is they worked for a business and they felt like they were making too much money for that business owner, and they venture out and say, if I go buy the equipment, if I go buy my own tow truck, or if I go buy my own limo, what have you, I could start this own business and I could keep all the money. So those are kind of the two ways that businesses seem to start in the local space. So knowing those factors and knowing that that's how these businesses kind of get going, I understood that if I just simply focused on the skill set of working with these people to help them get more customers, then I could ultimately be paid forever, because there's so many local businesses in so many different markets, and it doesn't take that many local businesses paying you $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month to stack up a very, very, very lucrative income. Okay, and it's a very, very nice living, as you've started to see, James. So really started focusing on local marketing, did quite a number of different things. Started an email marketing company, grew that, started a daily deal company that was ultimately acquired, did over 7 figures in sales there, and all centered around local business. But about 3.5, 4 years ago, I started a specific type of business that I thought to be something that had very, very long legs, and that's what I want to share with you on this hangout. And it's something that I want you to be able to take from this hangout and be able to apply in your local market, whether you work with us or not, because it worked so well for me, and I really didn't know all that much when I got started. So I saw a niche of taxis, and it was totally by chance. I just said, if you want a taxi in at least in most markets, not in like New York City and whatnot, but if you want a taxi in most markets, you probably just pick up the phone and call. You got to search for a number, whether you use the yellow book or you have it programmed into your phone or you go on the internet. And so I figured, I don't have to own any taxis. I don't have to have dispatch. I don't have to have the licensing and all the money invested. What I need to do is just outmarket these other taxi businesses at their own business. And if I do that, I bet you I can get some calls. So being a novice, not being very strong on the internet, not having that skill set really, I went on a site called Weebly, which I encourage you to take a look at. It's a very, very easy site to use. It's for novices like myself. And I went ahead and built a taxi site, and the site looked like hell. But with that being said, I didn't really care about all that. I cared about the result of just generating some phone calls. And I went actually on Google Voice, which I don't necessarily recommend any longer because I've kind of moved on to bigger and better things. But when you're first getting started, you surely could use it if you wanted to. I just recommend better systems if you're going to build a business on it, and I'll get into that later. So I got on Google Voice. I grabbed my cell phone number. It happened to be available right when Google Voice was kind of getting going, 782 taxi. So a great phone number for a taxi business, but surely didn't really matter if I got that number or not, and I'll prove that later on. Got this thing going, got this Weebly site up, and started going through some processes that at the time I did not know were as effective as I know they are at today. Everything from getting my site up to getting a lot of digital assets out on the net and really getting this phone number out in as many places as possible where people that might be searching for a taxi might run into it. That was my goal. And the funny thing was I forwarded the phone line into myself. Thinking like, okay, well, once these calls start happening, I'll be able to know. So it was about 3.5 weeks later from putting this together, and I was down in California at a birthday party of my buddies, and it was about 10 o'clock, and I get a phone call, and I hadn't seen the number before, and I answer, and they say, hey, yeah, we're down at 6th Street, we need a ride to this street, and I was like, man, you got the wrong number, click. And then it happened again, it was a different person, like, hey, we're at this bar, we need a ride to this bar, and I was like, dude, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, oh my gosh, my taxi line is working. Like, I'm getting calls from customers, and I own no taxis. I own no dispatch. I own nothing. I own a $10 domain and a free Google Voice number, and I'm generating what every taxi business in my town wants, paying customers looking for a taxi. Now, unlike network marketing, unlike affiliate marketing or internet marketing, I didn't have a sales letter. I didn't have a flashy widget or a opt-in bar or all these different things that us as internet marketers think we need. But in local marketing, none of this stuff is necessary. In fact, in local marketing, no one even knows about this stuff, and the end consumer doesn't have to be sold to buy something. They're already in the mind state of like, I need a taxi, and most likely it's going to cost me whatever it's going to cost, but I don't care because I can't drive, and I need a ride home, or I need a ride to the airport. So the sale is made before the phone call even happens. So it's a really beautiful thing. So I'm super excited because, well, that night my phone went off all night, and I finally took my battery out because it kept lighting up the hotel room we were staying in. And I got back to Eugene, which is where I live, and I called up a taxi company, and I said, hey, look, this is going to sound super weird, but I have this phone line, 782 Taxi, that's getting all these taxi calls, and I don't have any taxis. It was an internet marketing experiment that kind of went well, and I don't know what to do with these calls, but I surely don't want them coming to my cell phone. Can I send them over to you, and you can just take them? I didn't ask for $1, and I wanted to deliver some results in advance to this company first and foremost, because I know that so often businesses just get hit up nonstop for marketing things, and very rarely do you find someone that calls you up and says, hey, I got all these calls, 50 calls a day coming in for people looking to buy your service. Do you want them? Like, if every business had that call every day, they would all throw money at people, but it doesn't happen very often. So the approach that I want you to teach you guys, the first approach and the first principle that I want you to teach you on this hangout is get really, really good at delivering results in advance to businesses. You'll never have a problem making money in a local space. If you can bring them money first, they'll always be happy to pay you second, okay? So I gave the guy the phone calls, and I said, hey, look, I'll follow up with you in a week, and see how it's going. So I called him a week later and I said, hey man, how's it going? He's like, our drivers are ecstatic. It's more calls than we've ever got. He was pumped. And I specifically targeted that business because I could tell they were doing most things wrong online. Like it made perfect sense. They didn't know what they were doing, and rightfully so. They shouldn't know the stuff that we're doing because we're spending time learning. I had mentors, I had bought courses, I had just trial and error. Like, I had spent a lot of time and effort into learning this stuff. So it's like, it's no joke that these businesses don't know what to do. I mean, we spent hours and hours on this stuff. So anyway, long story short, I said, okay, so do you want to keep getting the calls? He said, absolutely. Yes, we want these calls. This is exactly what we need. Okay, cool. How do you want to pay? We can do a flat fee. This is kind of my first time. I don't really know how to charge you. And he said, you know what? I offered up pay-per call option, and he said, well, let's just do pay-per-call. On pay-per-call, he said, if you don't send me a lot of calls, I'm not paying a bunch of money, and if you send me a lot of calls, at least you get to participate in some of the upside. And I said, cool. So long story short, this relationship now has went on for years and years and years. To this day, I still get paid from my taxi business I set up nearly 4 years ago, or whatever the exact date is that I set it up. I forget, but it's been about 4 years. I still get paid a check in the mail every month, and all I do is just make sure those phone calls continue being piped in to that taxi company. I deliver. I don't do meetings. That one sale, that one thing I did years and years ago is paying me today. And that was the start of the local mogul model as we know it today. And that has really been the start of what Brad and myself, and Brad's my partner, who is probably one of the best SEOs in the USA. His sites are constantly ranked in the top 10,000 in the USA. Just a very, very smart, sharp guy on copywriting, and is the reason why he was able to do so well in these big spaces like network marketing. And since taking him on, he's only enhanced this knowledge of how to compete and how to run this local mogul model the way we're running it now. But long story short, after the taxi company happened, I said, this model is going to work again and again and again. It just all I need to do is rinse and repeat. So I started rinsing and repeating into different niches, and it's became a very, very lucrative model to the tune of nearly $30,000 a month coming in. And the beautiful thing about it, I came from a business where I worked 6 days a week, and you know 12 hours a day. It was the car business, and it's very, very time consuming, very, very frustrating to work in that industry. And I wanted to have a business that worked for me, not me having to work for it. And so this model of creating these online properties, these digital assets, has allowed me to live a life where I can be, in a tank top on a Wednesday afternoon doing whatever I want and not having to show up to a job. And it's allowed me to live a life where I can leave town this Saturday. I'm going to head down to Phoenix to hang out with Brad, stay in a nice hotel, and do what I want while still knowing that my business is still running, my business is still making me money. So James came to us. I remember vividly, I was in Hawaii on vacation, hanging out, and this is about, what, 2.5 months ago, and we spoke. You had came through Brad's site and wanted to start, knew that the local marketing was something you probably should have started on years and years ago, but really wanted a kind of a roadmap of what to do and how to do it, and just you're pretty good SEO guy because you rank really well for some pretty cutthroat terms. And I remember talking with you about it in our condo out there in Hawaii, and just the questions you were asking. And now to fast forward several months and to kind of see some of the results that you're getting is pretty cool. And I just want you to speak a little bit. I know I always hog the mic and talk way too much, but I want you to kind of speak about kind of what you've seen. I know you have like a pretty cool story that happened with one of your clients, and just like the difference between being in the IM niche or the network marketing niche, and how cutthroat it is with 100,000, 300,000 people all promoting the same product, and being able to go locally to a business where no one else is really competing. You're going directly to the horse's mouth, and you compete maybe against 10 or 20 other people, but with these skills that not only you knew some of them, but the stuff we've taught you on top of that, how much easier of a business model and how much more of a long-term strategy it really is. So go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Well, I actually didn't know the whole story. I knew a little bit, but again,
You
can you
there?
hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of went out. No big deal.
Uh, report.
You're a little bit choppy. I don't know if your internet's slowing down on you. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can. I was asking you if you're recording this.
Yeah, everything's being recorded.
Sweet. Okay. Um, I don't want to take too much time, but trying to make this as short as possible. Basically, I ran into Brad after Googling, Empower Network into Google, and the guy was showing up everywhere. Instead of reinventing the wheel and thinking that I'm the smartest guy on earth, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not. And knowing that I'm not, I'm going to seek out people who are having success. And Brad was one of them. I think he was making like 20 or 30,000 a month in Empower Network. And one of the things was, I said, well, let me see do competition, who was Brad, and kind of reverse engineering it and looking through his site and what he was doing. And matter of fact, Brad is the kind of guy, he delivers so much value to people that he was basically telling us what to do. And I remember saying to another guy that was on Brad's Empower team, I said, I don't understand this business model. He's telling us basically he's putting himself in the same competition with the people on his, people who aren't even on his team. And I knew at some point, and I don't know at what point it was, but I knew that his model, kind of copying Brad and basically teaching them to do the same thing that I was doing and that Brad was doing. And I think like Brad and I kind of came, we kind of thought about, without even speaking with each other, we kind of thought about this, like, this is not going to work. You're in an MLM or internet marketing, and you want people to succeed more than me. I'm not in this game to make myself rich. I'm in this game to make myself and as many other people as I can, wealthy. We could all just go out and hang out and go to Vegas together. I mean, I'm about doing things together. And the model was just, it was kind of crumbling underneath both of us. And that was when I said to myself, I feel guilty. I feel guilty selling something to somebody who I don't believe is they're going to spend five, six, whatever $1,000 to get into Empower Network or my top tier business is like $2,000, and they have no chance at all to succeed. And my conscience got the best of me, and I said, forget it, I can't do this. And that was almost the exact same time where I got an email from Brad saying basically the same thing. I can't do this. I can't keep taking money from people knowing that there's no way that they're going to succeed. And was when I saw this local mogul model, and I've learned of local SEO 3-4 years ago. I bought a course on it, but like everybody else, didn't capitalize on it. It sat in my desktop, and I never looked at it or anything. And Brad is the kind of guy where I know that he's a full-time guy, so I know what he's going to do is going to be the best for his family. And knowing that, I said I am going to follow whatever he's doing, because if what he's doing is making him successful, I'm going to do the same thing. And the guy is always giving value, and that's one thing that I love about Brad. But I have a quick story. I mean, when I joined the group and I learned, I thought I knew a lot about SEO, and I knew some things through what Brad was teaching. But in the group, I learned even more stuff, more about local listings and the top 7 in the local listings and so on and so forth. And I know somebody who owns a sporting goods store in New Jersey, and the guy has struggled online. I know he's spent thousands of dollars with the quote-unquote search engine optimization specialists who want $3,000-4,000 a month, and they guarantee rankings. And he's told me that it never worked, and it was never going to work because he's tried it for years. So I came to him, and this is what I love. This is the one thing that I absolutely love about this, is I was able to tell him, listen, don't give me $1, because I'm going to rank you, and it's not going to kill me to spend the time to rank you. And when I do, that's when you can start paying me. And he looked at me with a jaw on the floor. He's like, what? Seriously? And I'm like, yeah, let me rank you. Let me show you results, and then I'm going to come back to you. If you want to keep those results, you could pay me. I was charging him $1,000 a month. So let me just real quick share my screen.
Yeah, while you're doing that too, obviously there's we teach in the local mogul model lots of different ways to monetize things. Obviously the way that I was explaining it was kind of we built our own stuff out and we forward stuff in. And we get paid a fee or a pay-per-call or a pay-per-lead or a hybrid model or an arbitrage model. We teach a lot of that stuff, and in this model where you're talking about, James, is you went for a flat fee guaranteed rate, which is totally fine, one of the models we teach. But I also want to make sure while you're pulling that stuff up, your screen isn't popped over to your screen yet. I know you're probably trying to find it, but there you go. I want to make sure you guys know, a good percentage of what we teach has strong SEO implications in ranking people and stuff like that, but about 50% of the rest of what we teach has outside SEO stuff that we're doing that's important, from strategy and implementation and process. So I'll let you get back to I just want to touch on a couple of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. This was, I think I spoke to him in early May, and in June, let me tell you something. In June, he wrote me a check for $1,000. He looked at me, he goes, "Dude, I could write you a check for $5,000, and it'd still be worth it for me." And I'll show you why. So that's just a check he wrote. I started my own company, Universal Marketing Associates. Matter of fact, I actually named this after him because he was my first client. So his store is called Universal Sporting Goods. So I told him, I said, yeah, I'll name it Universal Marketing Associates, and So he wrote me a check on June 4th. I started working on his site in the beginning of May because he came to me. He's like, James, I have got to get my site up for the World Cup. He's like, because I'm a soccer guy and I got to get, I'm going to miss out on hundreds of sales if I don't. So I'm going to just reshare the screen. Here we go. He gave me access. Do you see that, Dan?
Not yet. It will. There we go. I can.
Okay, so let me just go to. These are his orders, basically. And I don't want to fumble through this, but just to give you an idea of not only, one of the things in MLM that we want is we want to create success. We want to help people better their lives, and coming into the local space, a lot of people don't realize, but you're going to change the lives of business owners in wherever you live.
Yeah.
This is something that I didn't even think about until this started happening. And these people are business owners and they're local guys, and I literally, I mean, I don't want to say that I did it myself, but this guy's life is literally.
Well, what was the sale increase since you took over?
Well, here's April. April he did 1, 2, 3, I think like 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 sales in April.
Okay.
I lost my mouse. Come on. 16 sales in April, and then in May, I believe he did probably about. Give me 1 second while my mouse catches up.
Yeah, you're fine.
I think he did maybe like in May 20, 22 sales as he started, getting into the local listings.
Mm-hmm.
And then there we go. So this was May. So 1, 2, and then how many was this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So he did about 16. So 16 on both April and May, because he was showing up on like Bing and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then there's 30 orders to this page. So if you go to June 3rd, he started kicking up in rankings in local in the end of May to June, and then look, what is it? 17 pages. So let's just say 420 orders.
So you went from 16 a month to over 400 orders after you took over, implemented the strategies. Obviously that some of the stuff you already knew, but then also the extra stuff we started teaching. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I get giggly thinking about this because I can't wait to start, doing the next guy, which is probably going to be a landscaper. But basically, I mean, I didn't even rank him for anything special. I think, what was it, Soccer Store, Wayne, New Jersey. And this is his soccer site, Soccer Zone USA.
Right.
And he's number 1. And I think I sent like 2 backlinks. I don't want to get into the logistics, but 2 or 3 backlinks. I think I spent maybe an hour. Yep. And I'm going to get paid $1,000 a month for the rest of my life.
Yep. Yeah, and so obviously, I don't personally do a ton in the e-commerce space, even locally. So it's kind of cool to see you utilizing the skill sets and just the knowledge behind us that this stuff works in so many different arenas. And whether you want to do a flat monthly fee, which actually is one of the tougher ways to sell it, even if you do guarantee it. We talk about that. I'm like, why? Because really, what we like the strategy of being able to let the rankings speak for themselves, let the phone calls, the customers speak for themselves. So, and I'll leave you guys kind of with this because I don't want to keep you a whole bunch longer. But when kind of some of the strategy that we lay out now that works so well. So if you're not really strong on the sales end of thing, and that's the part you're worried about. Because I know that was one of Brad's major concerns. He's just not someone that likes to talk to people. So selling is like, for me, it's not really an issue, but for Brad, it's not what he wanted to do. That was why he was always kind of turned off by local. And I said, Brad, listen, man, you're so good at doing this stuff. You can make someone's phone ring. It's all about just learning a process. Let me tell you what the process is that we use now. So let's just use that taxi company as an example. And back then it was a simple phone call, but now what we use is we use a phone whisper system. So we will set up a local business. We will utilize a phone number through one of our calling systems. And what we'll do is we'll put a phone whisper on the front end of that call. So what happens is The phone rings to, let's say, the taxi company, and when the taxi owner or the dispatch picks up, it says, "This free lead was sent to you by Dan Klein." Now, I've never talked to the taxi company at this point, or whatever business it is we're working with, B or Fly or something. I've never spoke to the taxi company or the limo company or whatever it is, but I'm sending them leads, and they hear when they pick up the phone, they say, "This free lead was delivered by Dan Klein," and then the customer's connected. So holy smokes, I'm delivering these people results in advance, and I'm putting my name in their ear. I'm basically letting my leads do the cold calling for me. So I don't do any cold calling. I'm able to let these leads that I'm sending them through our local work and our strategies and our processes that we set up, I'm letting that do the heavy lifting for me. And I might send these people 15, 20, 30 leads before I ever contact them. And they've heard my name so many times. When the time I send them an email or shoot them a quick text or shoot them a phone call and say, "Hey, it's Dan Klein, just checking to see if you've been getting the leads." No sale process here. I'm not trying to sell them anything. They're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. We've been getting those. We've booked over XYZ amount of business." And really, guys, that process is so strong. It's such a great process. It's something you guys can use. And we have the whole entire phone system set up for you guys, for people that are part of our coaching, and even people that aren't in our coaching that want to try to do this on their own. What I can tell you is some of the things that are very important when you jump into local space is understanding the right niches to jump into. There's certain niches that this stuff works incredibly well for, that pays you really, really well, and there's certain niches that I've fallen flat on my face and spent the last several years trying to figure out. And so we really want to help you with not only picking the right niches, but really helping you understand the right process. These accounts and these local business owners, they're highly lucrative, and you can literally build and become like a local mogul where you own so many digital properties throughout your town, wherever it is that you live, and you're generating leads, you're generating phone calls, you're generating business for local people, and ultimately you're getting paid. And you could be in Hawaii, you could be in Arizona, you could be in Las Vegas. I've been all over the place in the last couple months. People that are friends with me, even our members, see that I'm always on the go. I'm always somewhere on vacation or doing something. Brad was just in Cabo and then in Iowa and blah blah blah. Bottom line is our businesses are working for us. We don't have to be slaving away every day for this to happen. We pick specific niches with the intent of saying, we're going to get into this niche because we know that we can dominate incredibly easily. We know that this niche works really well because the types of leads and the average client value to the customer that we're bringing them to. And we ultimately can share that with you, unlike the network marketing niche, where if I told you exactly my strategy, then you just become competition. But I can tell James exactly what I'm doing in Eugene, Oregon. He can implement it in Wayne, New Jersey, and it has no effect on me, because in local marketing, every market is its own. Every pond is its own. And you can be a big fish in your small little pond and no one cares, and no one will probably ever even know about it. In fact, you can be a big fish and have 5 other people doing the same thing. There's so many local businesses to help, and there's so much business out there and so much money to be made knowing this stuff and learning these strategies. And the great thing I think I can say about this, and James, I know you'll agree with me, is this is a real business. This isn't, oh, buy this formula and then tell your friend to resell the formula and then tell his friend to resell. We're really helping people. I mean, James, you just showed 30 pages of orders because you helped this guy implementing some basic strategies that you learned over the last couple months, and that's changed this guy's business for the better. The guy probably loves you. You could probably write your own ticket there. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So I don't want to keep you guys on this any longer. What we're going to do is we're going to put a button below. And what that button is for is we don't let anyone into the coaching because we want to make sure it's A, a good fit, B, that we don't have a ton of people in your market already doing this thing, because we don't want to saturate a market with tons and tons of people into the same niches. So go ahead. If this is interesting to you, please don't jump on the phone. I only have a set amount of times, and I'm going to actually personally jump on with you. I only have a set amount of times per day that I'm able to do that, but I'm happy to jump on, answer some more questions, talk to you about your market, talk to you about what's going on, give you some really sound strategies and advice, and then hopefully if the coaching's a good fit for you, you can come in. We have some really cool scholarship programs we got going on right now, but the coaching is awesome. I mean, we do a live Tuesday and Thursday phone call. We have a large Facebook mastermind groups for us to share information, and then we also have created an entire, and we've invested a lot of time, effort, and money into creating a learning management system that helps us track and make sure you're assimilating the information and then submitting that your work back to us so we can make sure you're getting it right and coach you through the process. So in a nutshell, click on this below. You're gonna get linked right over to my calendar, and you're gonna set an appointment. Please don't stand me up. It's pretty important that you don't, because I only got so many times a day I can speak with people. So serious people only. Come to there with a mind ready to learn and listen, and hopefully come on board and join the family that we've created, and kind of join this movement of helping local businesses and start a real business for yourself. James, you got anything else?
No, just I just want to thank you for your time. People that don't know, Dan is a six-figure a month earner, and his time is extremely valuable. So if you're on this and you're ready to roar, you're ready to rock, and you're sick of kind of making excuses. I know I got sick of myself making excuses. If you want to build a real business, I'm talking about a business that you could hand down to your kids, a business that you could sell. Not just some fly-by-night, and that's important to understand too, because these other online companies, they're in and out, jumping from back and forth, and if you've been in this industry, you know that. So if you guys are ready, Dan's gonna jump on the phone with you. I know there's limited spots too, right, Dan? Like you're not just letting in thousands of people, right?
Yeah, I only have so many spots a day. We try to do strategy calls in between our coaching and stuff like that. Again, like I said, I want to make sure that you're a good fit too. So it's not only an interview, with me to you, it's an interview with you to me. So it kind of goes both ways. I don't want everyone just jumping in. If you're not going to be the right fit for what we do, and you don't get it, or it's not going to make sense. I mean, by no means do you have to be highly technical. Like I said, I use drag and drop services, really simple stuff, because I came from a business where I didn't have a whole bunch. I just basically use send emails. I don't know a bunch of technical stuff. You don't need to have those skills in order to do this, but you do need to have, this needs to make logical sense to you before you jump on this phone call. If it makes logical sense that local business is going to be here yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and for many, many years to come, and you get that there's tons of money changing hands in your local market with or without you and I jumping in and taking a sliver to deliver. We just want to get our hand in the middle of it and be that service provider that really enhances things, just like James has done, and really take things to the next level. So go ahead. I'm gonna close out now. I know I got to do a strategy call, and I'm 10 minutes late for right now. We'll close out. I love to talk to you guys on the phone. Love to meet new people all around the world. By the way, this works anywhere in the world that there's local business, which last time I checked, pretty much everywhere has local business. Our phone system that you get access to also works anywhere in the world. So no problems if you're in other countries. Just please fill out your Skype information, not your phone number, if you are from another country. That's all I got, man. It was great talking to you. Thanks for sharing your story, too. It's always great to hear success stories from other members. We'll talk to you guys soon. Hope to hear you on a call. Bye.
All right, bro.